Good morning to you. Glad you're here today. If you want to follow along, Second John, chapter 1, verse 9. We'll be looking at that today. And if you find that, like, share, and or comment on the passage. I really shouldn't say Second John chapter 1, verse 9, just Second John, verse 9. And we'll look at that today. Just one chapter, very short letter that John pens here. And he says here, some might say John goes from preaching to meddling. When he says, everyone who goes on ahead and does not abide in the teaching of Christ does not have God. Whoever abides in the teaching has both the Father and the Son. Not much I need to say there. John's pretty well... one of the great things about John's writing, again, I mentioned this previously, is John doesn't beat around the bush. John writes very simply and very much to the point when he says, if you don't go ahead and abide in the teaching of God, if you don't remain in the teaching of God, if you don't obey the teaching of God, he says, then you don't have God. He says you cannot be close to God and not obey His teaching. He says it just doesn't. Those two things are incompatible. To say that you love God but you don't obey what He says, he says those two statements just can't live in the same house. They just can't go together. And again. In whatever way, when we waver, when we stray from the teachings of the Word of God, from His commandments, he says that's just simply proof that you don't have God, that you're not a genuine follower. He says the word remain or abide here means to stay in close proximity, to be near. Again, you don't have to be perfect, but you got to be in the neighborhood. You got to be trying to live according to the Word of God. And intimacy, a relationship with God, he says, is seen in whether or not we obey the commandments of God. And and he doesn't pick which commandments. He doesn't say these are more important than the others. He says these are the commandments. And there are a lot of commandments there. We could start at, some of you may say now, Jimmy's going to go to meddling instead of preaching. Well, it's just fact. He says not to forsake the assembling of ourselves together. To say we love God and not be involved in our local church doesn't add up. He tells us to give, to say we love God and we don't support financially our local church, then doesn't add up. He tells us to go into all the world and to take the gospel into the highways and hedges. If we're not sharing the gospel and we say we love God, it doesn't add up. He says to husbands to love your wives, to be the spiritual leader in your home. Say we love God and not take our position and as the man of the house and do the things spiritually that God has told us to do, doesn't add up. If we say we love God, we will obey His teachings. All of them. Think about it. Have a good day. We'll see you here tomorrow morning.